Hello, good morning. Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. We are bringing you all the latest Rangers news, all free of charge, guys. All you got to do is smash that sub, ring that notification bell, and obviously share, comment, do all that great stuff for me. Right, it is a great day. It's a Friday. Everyone loves a Friday anyway, but a Friday after an Old Firm victory is always all that more sweeter. A fantastic performance by Rangers yesterday. Yes, it is a one-off. Yes, in the great scheme of things, it probably doesn't change anything in terms of the league, in terms of who wins the league this season. Realistically, they're still, 11 points clear. It's still pretty much over and done with, barring a collapse of biblical proportions from the other side of the city. But we've got to kind of take in isolation for a moment the positive of that fantastic performance. From 1 to 11, I thought all the players, well, from 1 to 99 or whatever number it is these days, it loves the old good old days. Do you remember the good old days when it was 1 to 11 and you had the number 2 shirt, and if you got the number 2 shirt, it was your job to hang on to it? Great days, great days. But yes, a great performance yesterday. And I know, look, yesterday we wanted to focus on the positive, focus on the fantastic display by our boys in blue, and really focus on the absolute, quality that we saw from Rangers yesterday. And I know that it is a one-off in terms of yesterday's performance was kind of a mind-blowing one. It really was, in terms of the fact that I think, a lot of fans would have sat there in the stadium at Ibrox, or sat there watching it on telly going, where's this been all season? Why could we have not seen this every single game this season? Because if we had, the gap wouldn't be 11 points. I think that would have been certainly the kind of feeling amongst a lot of supporters. Now, we are going to talk about that a little bit. We are going to talk about Ryan Kent, who could return. No, not Roy Kent. Ryan Kent, who could return to Rangers in January, in this January transfer window. And we're also going to touch a little bit as well on the update on the fitness of Jack Butland, James Tavernier, and Leon Balogun. But, look, continuing on yesterday, I thought there was a lot of standout performers from yesterday. It's hard to kind of pick out individuals because of the fact that I think from 1 to 11 yesterday, the whole team were superb. But, the real standouts for me yesterday, the ones who really kind of, for me, and I know some of you will suggest others and will say others, and that's fine. And I get that. I understand that. But I want to kind of just pick out a couple of players in particular. I've got to say, I thought Ridvan Yilmaz was absolutely terrific. He played right back, obviously, which is not his natural position. He played absolutely fantastically, and because of his performance, Dyson Mido wasn't even a factor. A man who has been a factor in so many old firms to this point, was just out of the game and spent more time chasing after Ridvan because of Ridvan's quality. Unlucky not to score. Hadji yesterday, like I said on the pod last night, like a weight lifted off his shoulders with that fantastic goal early. A goal which kind of was a tone setter for the whole game. And I've got to say that Yanis Hadji has kind of changed the squad. He really has. He has really developed this team and brought it on. Had we had him from the start of the season, who knows how different it could have been. But again, yesterday, in front of his old man, absolutely phenomenal. Mo Diamonde yesterday turned up against Celtic, absolutely fantastic, brilliant performance. Hassled, harried, won the ball back, got attacks going, thrust forward, did everything. We were told that Mo Diamonde would do. And the man who, for me, was man of the match, captain fantastic, a man who should, I think, continue as captain. Nicholas Raskin was brilliant. Brilliant. He led by example. He showed the rest the way to go. He was, in effect, everything Tav isn't as a captain. Energetic, in your face, physical, great player, top passer, brilliant tackler. Just did a fantastic job all round. Right, guys, look, that was yesterday. And I know that a lot of you are going to say, well, it doesn't really matter unless we do it against Hibs on Sunday. And I get that. I understand that. It is all technically for nothing. If we go to Hibs, if we go to Easter Road on Sunday and we slip up, then yesterday was for nothing, really, wasn't it? So, yeah, I agree with that one. We will obviously continue to build up to that Hibs game here on the channel. But let's talk a little bit about the story that is currently doing the rounds in the media. It is a light and it is dividing the fan base. And that is about this man here, Ryan Kent. Yes, Ryan Kent. Although I think some of you would rather would rather have would rather have Roy Kent perhaps than actually have Ryan Kent back. So let's think about this. Ryan Kent, I think he had his good moments at the club. He had his bad moments at the club. We can talk about the positives of Kent during 55. Very good footballer. During the run to Seville, absolutely brilliant. I mean, he absolutely tore the two German sides apart, didn't he? I think at that point, had one of the Bundesliga clubs actually, really considered it, I think with a substantial bid, they may have even been able to get him. And I think, there was perhaps some interest from Germany in Ryan Kent. And Kent was great during that Europa League run, don't get me wrong. His goals away in Dortmund, his performance against Leipzig, at home in the semi-final, an all-round quality performance. Ryan, at the height of his powers, at the time when he was very highly thought of at Rangers, was, the kind of winger that we need at the club. Someone who can be direct, someone who can be aggressive, someone who can attack, and can create chances, can score goals, and someone who can get inside the head of the opponent and drive the opponent absolutely insane. Those of you who watched Ted Lasso, he's kind of Jamie Tart-esque, I think. But he kind of left, and the other positive, of course, of Ryan Kent is that the other side of the city absolutely hate his guts, which is always a good one. I mean, the celebration, for example, and the punching Scott Brown. But, I mean, let's face it, who wouldn't? But he kind of left under a dark cloud, didn't he? There was kind of a feeling amongst the fan base that in his final season at the club, both him and Alfie Morelos kind of down tools, gave up a little bit, and he was hooked in that semi-final at half-time by Michael Beale. Now, was that necessarily Kent downing tools, or was that just poor coaching and poor motivation from Michael Beale? Who knows? Kent had his positives as well as his negatives, and I think the end of his time at Rangers really soured his sort of legacy with the fans, soured his legacy with the club. And they kind of forgot some of the better moments of Kent, the ability to drag two defenders, three defenders out of place and create space for others. Now, during Ryan's time at Rangers, he made 218 appearances, scoring 33 goals and having 56 assists. That's 89 goal contributions in 218 games. I think it tailed off towards the end. But certainly during 55 and the run to the Europa League final, he was absolutely brilliant. Now, he went off, obviously, to play for Fenerbahce. Wasn't successful there. 19 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists. Hardly featured, and then his contract was cancelled. He's had other experiences at Barnsley, with Coventry City. I mean, we all have our crosses to bear in life, don't we? Coventry City, Bristol City, Freiburg, and obviously he played for Liverpool as well. That's where he began his career. Now, according to stories in Turkey, now we know, look, I know, we all know that the Turkish media is about as, was about as reliable as, I don't know, just very unreliable. Very unreliable. And we do know that, they do kind of make things up at times. But there is still, I'm sure, amongst the Turkish media, reliable sources, as there is amongst the British media, as there is amongst the European media, as there is amongst any media. And we know that during January transfer season, that the silly season begins and people start, putting 2 and 2 together, making 5. Rangers need this, Rangers need that. Oh, he could do. Let's put the story, and we all know that happens. I get that, you get that, we all get that. But it's going to continue this speculation, isn't it? Now, according to reports in the Turkish media, and some of them have been picked up and run with by the English media, Ryan Kent has been allegedly, and I use the word allegedly, offered a 6-month deal to the end of the season with Rangers with the chance of a 1-year contract if he proves himself within that 6 months. That is the story that is currently doing the rounds. Now, Rangers do need a winger. Rangers don't have a lot of money to spend. Ryan Kent is out of contract. Ryan Kent is looking for a way to return to the game. So this obviously gives him the opportunity. It's kind of on a 6-month prove-it deal, which is interesting, and I want to talk about that in a moment. And then obviously that year contract if he proves it. So that's where we're at, according to the media. And again, it's according to the media. And like I said, pinch of salt time. I get that, understand that. figure it 100%. And I think we all got to think of, Rangers won't have a lot of money to spend in this transfer window. Excuse me. So if they can get someone for free who is going to add to the squad, who's going to add to the team, can bring in some quality, then maybe they would be interested in that. Maybe that could be a possibility. Now, when Philippe Clement was mentioned, when this was mentioned to Philippe Clement in the past, he didn't exactly rule it out, did he? He didn't say no, under no circumstances, not happening, never going to happen. Don't forget about it. Now, look, I get that out there. I'm talking to Rangers fans who hate Ryan Kent, Rangers fans who love Ryan Kent. I get that. I understand that. And I know some of you are very much, on the level that you would never under any circumstances take him back. Yet there are some of you out there that would love to have him back. Right. This is my thoughts on this matter. My thoughts. It's a 6 month. What I'm hearing is it's a 6 month prove it deal. Okay. A 6 month prove it deal. We are short of quality players. Ryan Kent, I think, we can all kind of say is a quality player. He has the ability to score goals, create chances, run at players, be direct, cause trouble. Not always the most positive of trouble, but can cause trouble. My personal feeling is, yes, I was exceptionally... look, I spoke up for Kent when there was the whole talk about should he be given a new deal, shouldn't he be given a new deal. If you go back to the podcast at that point, I spoke up for Kent. I did, and I was really disappointed in the way he ended the season, really disappointed in the way he gave up. But I think, personally, this is just my personal opinion, because it's a 6 month prove it deal, we've kind of got nothing to lose on this one. Let's say, for example, he comes in and for 6 months is just what a lot of you will say he is, a waste of time, a player that can't be asked, can't put the effort in, blah, blah, blah. Then 6 months later, we just cancel his contract. He doesn't have a contract. He just leaves, and that's it. Never to darken our doorstep again. But let's say, for example, he comes in, plays brilliantly for 6 months, plays the way he did in that Europa League run, played the way he did during 55, and we win the Scottish Cup, we progress in the Europa League, get money for it, finish second, get into Champions League qualifiers, then surely that is 6 months money well spent. 6 months, with it's kind of a nothing to lose kind of thing, because, in 6 months, if he's been awful, then we just say to him, thanks but no thanks, see you later, get lost, bye-bye. And we've kind of lost nothing. Yes, a little bit of wages, because I'm sure the wages won't be that high that he's been offered. Or if he's great, then we give him a year's contract and we see how it goes for another year. And that year we either say, yay, thanks, or we sell him after 6 months. For me, there's not a great deal of negative in this. I honestly believe that with it just being a 6 month prove it deal, that's what I'm hearing. That might be rubbish. I would give him the opportunity. I would actually see what we've got in Ryan Kent. Bring him into the club. It just kind of takes up one of those spots that we need to fill and frees up money to go after a striker, a centre-back, a right-back, perhaps those more pressing needs. It gives us someone who can come in, can play left, can play right, can add something to the squad. I just think on a 6 month prove it, it's not a massive gamble. Now, this might all be rubbish and we might all be talking, for no reason at all, or, it might come off. I don't know. But that's my personal opinion. Now, some of you won't agree with me. That's fine. Possibly, disagree constructively down in the comments. Let me know why you think even a 6 month deal isn't a good idea for him. Like I said, I think it's kind of a win-win realistically for Rangers. It's a free player, and for 6 months, he may even come in and prove some of you wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Right, so yesterday's performance, look, absolutely superb performance. And I think, we all admit that it was very much a makeshift defence. It was very much a kind of, plastic, sticky back plastic and double-sided sticky tape job, very much a Blue Peter job, wasn't it? Ridvan, Sterling, Proper and Yefte. And they were all fantastic yesterday, don't get me wrong. Ridvan as the right back, brilliant. But even Robin Proper yesterday was absolutely excellent. Now, there's talk of, when will John Souttar be back? When will Leon Balogun be back? When will Jack Butland be back? When will, when will James Tavernier be back? That's kind of, a lot of talk. And I know listening to conversations and so on and so forth, a lot of you are thinking, well, please don't rush back because, at the end of the day, we don't want them we don't need them back. And a lot of you are saying that the team actually looked better without Jack Butland than without James Tavernier in it. which is fair enough. I think, on the whole, personal opinion is the team does look better without James Tavernier, without Cyril Dessers as well. It really does. I think, we saw that in the semi-final when they went off. We looked better. And that first game after when they didn't play, we looked better again. So, at the end of the day, I just kind of think that overall it's better when they don't return. Realistically, they don't really add anything to the side. In fact, they take away from the side. So what do we know? We know that John Souttar, obviously. Now, John Souttar is someone who I think we are missing. He is our best central defender. He is quality. He is a top talent. He's someone I think there's contract talks around, which is the right thing to do. I think he's out of contract not this year, but next. So I think that's the right move by the club. What I'm hearing is that he will be back by the end of January. So still a bit of a way to go in terms of getting Big John back, which is, it is considering, the fact that we have some huge games upcoming in January, the Man United game, Union Saint-Gilloise game, cup games, etc., etc. There's a lot coming up in this month, so we could have done with having him back. Obviously not for Fraser-Borough, that's not going to be a massive test, put the kids in for that. But certainly, having him back would have been a positive. So him out till January does continue to take away, does continue to kind of debilitate the defence to some degree. John Souttar is a top level player. He is a quality player for me. And I know he makes the odd mistake, but he's still a very fine player. Now, obviously, James Tavernier, Jack Butland and Leon Balogun. What is going on with these guys? Now, Philippe Clement was asked about these post-match, and this is what he had to say as regards the James Tavernier, Jack Butland and Leon Balogun situation. He says, I don't know yet for the moment, but I think the chance is really small in that way. But it's not long term for Tav, not long term. Tav for sure not, and Jack I don't think also for the weekend, but maybe the week after we will see. So it sounds like both Tav and Jack will both. I mean, that's pretty bad English there. Well, but and that's probably more what the Daily Record. That's probably not Philippe Clement. That's probably just the illiterates at the Daily Record. So I think. It sounds very much like Jack Butland and James Tavernier, will not be back for the Hibernian game at the weekend, and that's a good chance that Liam Kelly and maybe Ridvan or maybe Sterling will continue to play in the team. Now, when he was asked about Balogun's availability, this is what he had to say. We will see towards the weekend. It's not a long term, but I cannot say anything about it yet. It seems interesting with Balogun that we went from he could return in the Old Firm game to we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Look, I mean, it would be harsh to drop either Proper or Sterling, given how well they played in yesterday's game. Of course it would. But, I think having Big Leon back would be, really strengthen the squad at least and give us another option. Could perhaps move Sterling back to right back, Balogun into the middle with Proper, Ridvan and Hiefte spelling it, Ridvan on the left, I don't know, whatever. It gives you more options, doesn't it? But, it sounds like Jack and Tav will not be back certainly this week, could be next week. He's kind of been very general about that. I don't think he exactly knows. But, the news is definite they will not be back for the Hibs game. So I think, a lot of you are going to go, yay, you're not back for the Hibs game. Great news. And that Liam Kelly and Ridvan or Dujon, whoever, can continue in their positions in goal or at right back. So that's kind of an update where we're up to with James Tavernier, Jack Butland and Leon Balogun. Look, I think personally speaking, we need to get players back. We need to get them fit. I think there's some of them, that we do need to clear out. I think in January there is a big clear out needed. I still think there's a lot of deadwood needs to clear out. I think we need to build on the performance yesterday, bring in some new faces in January to strengthen this squad and move this squad forward. Right, guys, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, please, on the way out, smash the sub, comment, share, like, do all that great stuff for me. Help the channel to build. Brilliant. Thank you so much. And remember always, please never forget, we are the people.